Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, Episode 1, begins with Yuji Itadori running across buildings while being chased by a massive cursed spirit. As Yuji tries to escape, the curse suddenly grabs him. Before it can kill him, the curse is struck down by another sorcerer and its body collapses onto Yuji. The one who killed the curse is Yuta Okotsu. However, it is immediately revealed that Yuta is not there to save Yuji. He has been assigned to execute him. The story then shifts back to the Zenin clan. Naoya Zenin is shown mocking his own mother and openly insulting women, comparing them to Maki Zenin. He meets Junichi Zenin and Ogi Zenin, who scold him for arriving late while his father is on his deathbed. Naoya shows no concern and confidently declares that he will become the next head of the Zenin clan. Soon after, they receive the news that Naobito Zenin has died. His will states that Naoya will inherit the clan and its assets, including the cursed tools stored at Jujutsu High. However, if Satoru Gojo dies or becomes permanently unable to fight, Megumi Fushiguro will become the head instead. This condition deeply angers Naoya. Learning that Megumi is currently in Tokyo searching for Yuji Itadori, Naoya decides to kill both of them so that the inheritance will remain his. Back in Tokyo, Yuji is seen resting alone when Choso approaches him and asks about his injuries. Yuji says he is recovering, possibly due to Sukuna, and can feel his power increasing. Choso suggests returning to Jujutsu High, but Yuji refuses, blaming himself for Sukuna's actions and the deaths of innocent people. He also apologizes for killing Choso's brothers. Choso tells him that they would have forgiven him because they are brothers, and that family is what truly matters. Yuji then runs through the city, deliberately attracting cursed spirits towards himself. He defeats several of them with ease and leads the rest into an underground bridge where Choso is waiting. Using piercing blood, Choso destroys the curses in a single attack. When one curse tries to ambush Choso, Yuji instantly kills it. Choso realizes that Yuji has learned to control his cursed energy and has become far stronger than before. Before Choso can speak further, Naoya Zenin appears and asks about Megumi Fushiguro's location. Yuji questions why they should run, and Naoya reveals that Yuji has been sentenced to death now that Satoru Gojo is gone. Naoya attacks without hesitation, easily overpowering both Yuji and Choso with his speed. Choso realizes Naoya must be using a special technique, while Naoya wonders about Choso's identity. Suddenly, a massive surge of cursed energy fills the area. Yuji briefly thinks it might be Satoru Gojo, but instead, Yuta Okotsu appears, landing with enough force to shatter the ground. Naoya recognizes Yuta as the sorcerer assigned to kill Yuji and steps aside. Choso urges Yuji to escape, warning him that fighting Yuta would mean certain death. Yuji runs, but Yuta quickly catches up to him. Meanwhile, Choso fights Naoya, who mocks blood manipulation and claims that only piercing blood is truly dangerous. Choso vows that Naoya will not leave alive after attacking his brother. Yuta finally reaches Yuji, revealing that the opening scene was not Yuji running from a curse, but from Yuta himself. A fight breaks out, and Yuji is completely overwhelmed. Despite his gentle appearance, Yuta possesses an immense amount of cursed energy, far more than Yuji. Yuji tries to fight back using a knife, applying what Gojo once taught him, but Yuta easily breaks through his defense. Yuji destroys Yuta's katana with a powerful kick and continues attacking, refusing to give up. Suddenly, Yuji is restrained by Rika, who appears behind him and locks him in place. Unable to move, Yuji watches Rika as Yuta approaches, holding his broken blade. Apologizing to Yuji Itadori, Yuta stabs him through the chest. Yuji collapses as Sukuna briefly manifests inside him, but the scene quickly shifts to another battlefield, where Naoya Zenin is fighting Choso. Naoya uses his overwhelming speed to dominate the fight, moving so fast that Choso can barely react. Every attack lands cleanly, and Naoya keeps mocking Choso, calling him slow and stubborn. Despite taking heavy damage, Choso refuses to fall. He reminds Naoya that he is the eldest brother of 10 siblings, and that pride alone keeps him standing. Choso activates flowing red scale, enhancing his physical abilities and sharpening his perception. For the first time, he can properly track Naoya's movements. Naoya increases his speed again and stabs Choso in the stomach with a knife, causing massive blood loss. He confidently claims that Choso cannot stop the bleeding and that using weapons makes things easier and cleaner. Naoya openly admits his hatred toward his older brothers, saying that older brothers who are weaker than their younger siblings deserve to die. Choso responds calmly, explaining the role of an older brother. He says an older brother exists to guide, protect, and become a model for the younger ones. He suggests that Naoya is practiced precisely because his own older brothers were weak, forcing him to surpass them. As the fight continues, Naoya realizes that Choso is not dying despite the blood loss. Choso reveals the truth about his body. As a death-painting womb, a hybrid of cursed spirit and human, he does not die from blood loss as long as cursed energy remains. Choso spreads his blood across the ground, causing Naoya's feet to stick like glue. Taking advantage of this opening, Choso fires piercing blood directly at Naoya. Naoya attempts to activate his projection sorcery technique, which allows him to move at 24 frames per second. However, Choso counters with supernova, a technique refined over more than a century, detonating compressed blood from multiple directions. Naoya manages to block some of the attacks, but is suddenly struck from behind by Yuta Okotsu, who appears out of nowhere and knocks him unconscious. Yuta explains that Choso's blood is poisonous to humans, making Naoya's condition even worse. He heals Naoya using reverse curse technique and tells him to report to the higher-ups that Yuji Itadori has been executed. Meanwhile, Yuji experiences a strange vision from his childhood. He sees his father, Jin Itadori, and his grandfather, Wasuke. His grandfather warns Jin to stay away from a certain woman or risk death. The memory fades as Yuji regains consciousness. Yuji wakes up to find Yuta sitting beside him. Yuta casually confirms that Yuji is alive. He explains that months earlier, Gojo Satoru asked Yuta to secretly watch over Yuji. Yuta pretended to execute Yuji to satisfy the higher-ups, then immediately revived him using reverse curse technique after stopping his heart. The execution vow remains valid, meaning the higher-ups believe Yuji is dead. Megami Fushigura arrives and suggests hiding Yuji within Jujutsu High. Yuji refuses, blaming himself for the deaths during the Shibuya incident. Megami argues that sorcerers are not heroes, but their existence still matters. He then reveals the true crisis. Kenjaku has initiated the culling game, a deadly ritual forcing sorcerers across Japan to kill each other. Megami's sister, Tsumiki Fushigura, has been unwillingly registered as a participant. The rules of the culling game are explained. All players must enter within 19 days. Failure to participate results in the removal of cursed techniques, leading to death. Players gain points by killing others, and those points can be used to add new rules. Yuji warns Yuta about Sukuna, explaining that 15 fingers have already been consumed. He asks Yuta to kill him immediately if Sukuna ever takes control. Yuta agrees without hesitation. Megami says their next step is to meet Master Tengen. They need information on how to release Gojo Satoru from the prison realm and how to stop the culling game. Yuji asks about Nobara Kugisaki, but Megami stays silent, confirming her fate without words. Choso then joins the group, offering to guide them through Tengen's barriers using his connection to previous intruders. The group arrives at Jujutsu High, where they meet Yuki Tsukumo. They enter the Star Corridor, passing through multiple barriers, until they reach a vast, silent chamber. A strange presence fills the space, as Master Tengen finally appears before them.
Tengen greets everyone present, but noticeably does not greet Yuki Tsukumo. Yuki immediately questions this, pointing out that he greeted everyone except her. Tengen calmly responds that this is not their first meeting, hinting at a deeper history between them. Yuki then directly asks Tengen why he sealed the tomb barriers earlier. Tengen admits that he suspected Yuki might be working alongside Kenjaku. When Yuki asks who Kenjaku is, Tengen explains that Kenjaku is the same sorcerer once known as Noritoshi Kamo and that he is currently controlling Suguru Geto's body. At this point, Yuji asks the question that's been bothering him. Why does Tengen look so inhuman? Tengen laughs and tells Yuji that if he lives long enough, he might end up looking the same. Even though Tengen is immortal, his aging never stopped. He then reveals a critical detail. 12 years ago, he failed to merge with the star plasma vessel. Because of that failure, his evolution accelerated beyond control. Yuki asks why another star plasma vessel wasn't chosen afterward, but Megumi interrupts, bringing the conversation back to the real reason they came. He asks two direct questions. What exactly is Kenjaku planning, and how can the prison realm be opened? Tengen agrees to explain everything, but first sets a condition. He tells Yuta, Yuki, and Choso that at least two of them must stay behind to protect him. Everyone is shocked by this request, as they assumed Tengen was completely safe due to his immortality. Yuki agrees and asks how long the protection will be required. With that settled, Tengen finally explains Kenjaku's true objective. Kenjaku's goal is to force the evolution of humanity across all of Japan. Megumi points out that Kenjaku could have turned everyone into sorcerers using barrier techniques, so why did he rely on idle transfiguration instead? Tengen explains that such a massive evolution requires an enormous amount of cursed energy, far more than Kenjaku currently possesses. Tengen reveals the horrifying truth. Kenjaku plans to merge humanity with Tengen himself. Yuji questions whether this is even possible, since Tengen was only supposed to merge with star plasma vessels. Tengen explains that this limitation no longer applies. Because he failed to merge 12 years ago, his form has evolved so far that he can now merge with anyone. Choso asks how a single being can merge with countless humans. Tengen answers that he has evolved to the point where his existence spreads throughout the world and his soul exists everywhere. Any human who merges with him would become something far beyond a sorcerer, an entirely new kind of being. Tengen also explains that he maintains his current form through barrier techniques, keeping himself under control. But if a merged human were to lose control, it could spell the end of the world. Tokyo would only be the beginning. Yuji asks the most important question, why does Tengen even want this? But Tengen admits that even he doesn't know Kenjaku's true motivation. Maki then asks Tengen why Tengen simply refuses to merge. Tengen explains the real danger. He has evolved so much that he is now closer to a cursed spirit than a human. This makes him vulnerable to cursed spirit manipulation. Everyone immediately understands why Kenjaku chose Geito's body, because Geito's technique is exactly that. Tengen knows that if Kenjaku confronts him directly, he will be sealed instantly. This is why the tomb rejected outsiders earlier, and why Tengen now needs protection. Tengen also reveals that aside from himself, Kenjaku is the most skilled barrier technique user alive, and could destabilize the tomb at any time. But he hasn't yet because he still lacks enough cursed energy. The episode then dives into Kenjaku's past. Long ago, Kenjaku was defeated twice by Six Eyes users. Realizing he could never win directly, he began killing star plasma vessels and Six Eyes users shortly after their birth. However, every time Tengen's merger date arrived, a new Six Eyes user and a new vessel would appear. Kenjaku eventually changed strategies. Before he could obtain the prison realm, one unexpected person disrupted everything: Toji Zenin. Toji assassinated the star plasma vessel, halting Tengen's merger and triggering Tengen's evolution. Later, a sorcerer with cursed spirit manipulation was born, Geito, and everything Kenjaku needed slowly fell into place. 6 years later, Kenjaku finally obtained the prison realm. Returning to the present, Megumi asks why the culling game exists at all. Tengen explains that the culling game's purpose is to gather cursed energy. As sorcerers fight and kill within the colonies, massive amounts of cursed energy are released, which Kenjaku will use for the merger. Tengen also clarifies something terrifying. Kenjaku is not the game master. Even if Kenjaku dies, the culling game will continue until all players are dead, either by killing each other or refusing to participate, which also leads to death. Yuji realizes what this means. They must participate in the culling game and accumulate points to add a rule that allows unwilling participants, including Megumi's sister, to escape. Megumi adds that freeing Gojo was essential because Gojo alone could end everything. Yuji asks Tengen to decide who will stay behind. Yuki and Choso volunteer to guard Tengen. Tengen then reveals the back gate of the prison realm. However, he explains that it cannot be used without the front gate. There are other methods, the inverted spear of heaven and black rope, but both were destroyed by Gojo years ago. Just as hope seems lost, Tengen reveals another option. Among the culling game players is a 1,000-year-old sorcerer known as Angel, who may be able to open the prison realm. Tengen believes Angel is somewhere in eastern Tokyo. The episode then explains the current situation across Japan. 10 colonies have already formed, sealed by barriers. Civilians and sorcerers are trapped across different sides, with many ordinary people caught inside dangerous zones. Tengen then explains the rules of the culling game. Any awakened player must participate within 19 days. If they fail, their curse technique is removed, resulting in death. Entering a colony automatically registers someone as a player. Killing increases points, 5 for sorcerers and 1 for non-sorcerers. Players can add new rules only after reaching 100 points, and any new rule cannot contradict existing ones. Finally, if a player's points remain unchanged for 19 days, they are executed. Yuji realizes what this means. He will have to kill to survive. Everyone then decides their roles. Choso and Yuki stay behind. Maki decides to go to the Zenin clan to gather curse tools. Yuta chooses to enter the culling game to gather information, but suggests everyone enter different colonies to avoid killing each other. This creates a new fear. If Yuji turns into Sukuna while separated, no one will be there to stop him. Megumi notices their concern and reassures them. Before leaving, Maki tells Yuji and Megumi to recruit Hikari, a suspended third-year student. When Yuji asks how strong he is, Yuta replies that Hikari is even stronger than he is. As they leave, Yuji thanks Choso. Choso tells Yuji not to die and breaks down in tears. The episode ends with a sudden shift to a struggling comedian named Takaba performing to a nearly empty crowd. His boss insults him and fires him for being unfunny. Another man approaches Takaba and says that there are only 2 kinds of comedians, those who are funny and those who believe they are funny. He asks Takaba which one he is.
Maki Zenin arriving at the Zenin household. Almost immediately, she runs into Naoya Zenin. He treats her with open contempt, mocking her appearance and belittling her worth. Naoya verbally abuses her, but Maki ignores him completely and continues walking toward the armory. She technically should not be allowed inside. However, Megumi Fushiguro, now acting as the clan leader, granted her permission. As Maki walks, she remembers how she convinced Megumi to take the role. He initially refused, but Maki explained that becoming clan head would give them access to vital intel and clan assets. Eventually, Megumi agreed, even saying that Maki would be far more suited for leadership than he was. Maki, however, knew the truth. She would never receive the clan's support. More than that, she still couldn't create a place where her sister Mai truly belonged. When Maki enters the armory, something feels wrong. Before the scene reveals what she sees, the story flashes back to a conversation between Junichi Zenin and Naoya Zenin. Junichi makes it clear that he does not want Megumi Fushiguro as the clan leader. To stop this, he devises a brutal plan. They will kill Megumi, Maki, and Mai. By executing all 3, they can frame it as punishment for rebellion, making the plan more convincing to the higher-ups. Back in the present, the truth is revealed. Mai is lying collapsed on the floor of the armory, badly wounded. Standing before her is their father, Ogi Zenin, who intends to kill both of his daughters. Maki tries to fight back. During the struggle, she breaks Ogi's sword and rushes in, believing she has gained the upper hand. Instead, Ogi calmly slashes her twice, proving that breaking his blade does not stop his technique. As he drags Maki and Mai away,
Ogi explains that his strength lies not in swordsmanship, but in being a sorcerer. He blames both girls for his failure to become clan head and declares them his greatest shame. He throws them into an empty training room filled with cursed spirits. It is a place he uses for punishment. Once he leaves, the curses will devour them. Barely conscious, Mai gathers what little strength she has left and gently cups Maki's face. She activates her curse technique. Suddenly, Maki finds herself standing on a beach beside Mai. Mai explains the truth about twins in the Jujutsu world. Twins are treated as a single being. Because of this, neither of them can ever be complete. As long as they both exist, they will always be half-baked. Maki doesn't understand and desperately begs Mai to come back as her sister slowly walks toward the ocean. Mai tells her she will leave her one final gift. In exchange, she asks for just one thing, that Maki destroys everything. Mai cries and briefly appears as her younger self before saying her final goodbye. Maki awakens back in the armory. A newly created sword rests in her hand. Mai is dead beside her. Cursed spirits approach, but they no longer matter. With Mai's death, Maki's heavenly restriction has reached its full potential. She has no cursed energy left, only overwhelming physical power. She remembers her promise. Ogi Zenin senses something terrifying, a presence he once feared. Toji Zenin. He calls Maki a failure and prepares to fight her, but he doesn't even finish speaking. Maki strikes once, slicing his head open, and walks out of the armory without looking back. An alarm sounds throughout the Zenin estate. The Kukuru unit is deployed to stop her. They are elite fighters trained in pure physical combat, and Maki was once part of their ranks. Their leader, Nobuaki, underestimates her, failing to recognize the danger. When the soldiers engage Maki, the screen shifts to black and white. What follows is a brutal slaughter, echoing the famous Crazy 88 scene from Kill Bill. One by one, Maki cuts them down, leaving the room drenched in blood. Nobuaki opens the door and freezes in shock, unable to comprehend what he's seeing. Suddenly, massive stone hands slam into Maki. This is Chojudo's curse technique, a member of the Hei unit, the Zenin clan's strongest sorcerers. Maki escapes unharmed. She kills both Nobuaki and Chojudo. Another Hei member attempts to restrain her, while Junichi Zenin rains down a barrage of attacks. Still, Maki survives effortlessly and kills them all. The only one left is Naoya Zenin. Naoya still underestimates her, remembering how terrifying Toji once was and convincing himself that Maki is only an imitation. He attacks at incredible speed, overwhelming her at first. If he keeps moving, his speed will only increase, just as it did in his fight with Choso. Maki waits. When she gets her chance, she blocks his path, forcing him into a straight line. Naoya charges forward, confident she cannot stop him, but Maki has already understood his technique. As he closes in, she strikes, smashing his head and pulverizing part of his skull. Afterward, Maki searches for her mother and asks her why she once told her to come back. She receives no answer. She slashes her and leaves. Naoya later staggers back to the house, believing he survived. Behind him stands Maki's mother, bleeding, smiling. In her final moments, she collapses onto Naoya, killing him, and says she is glad she gave birth to her daughters. Momo Nishimuya arrives at the Zenin estate as Maki walks, carrying Mai's body on her shoulders. Momo breaks down in tears and asks Maki what she plans to do next. The episode ends there.